Whether they hail from Michigan or Medicine Hat, stock car people will always be good old boys with spiritual homesteads at Charlotte and Daytona. Though its image may be homespun, modern stock car racing is extremely sophisticated, a thinking man's game, where teamwork is critical to success. The boys in the pits may not be able to win a race, but they can surely lose it. The annual pit stop contest in downtown Calgary was a chance for racing fans to salute these unsung heroes whose skill would play a critical part in the Players Limited 500. When the dust settled, it was Bob Seneker accepting another winner's check, but this was won by the boys. It was the deciding moment in last year's race. After 498 laps, a duel between Mike Eddy and Bob Seneker. Coming out of turn 3, Seneker hits Eddy not once, but twice. Stock car people call it the bump. Eddy drifts out to the wall while Seneker cruises easily to the checkered flag and a $20,000 paycheck. The two drivers are back for a rematch. How do they remember the bump?
Well, racing's racing. Contact happens. The two drivers know whether it was on purpose or an accident.
When you race with Mike, you better be as mean as Mike or you ain't gonna get by.
There's a ringer entered in car number 33, one of the most popular stars of the NASCAR circuit, handsome Harry Gant. At 51, he's on his way to his best season ever, a proven master on both the super speedways and short tracks. The Bandit has never before raced in Calgary.
Well, we're going to be like about 35, 40 others trying to get what we get.
From Race City Speedway in Calgary, Alberta, CTV Sports presents the 6th annual Players Limited 500, Canada's longest and richest stock car race. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Jerry Dobson. Joining me in the broadcast booth is a regular on the ASA stock car circuit and certainly no stranger to CTV viewers, Larry Newber.
Thank you very much, Jerry. Well, there is Bob Seneker, the defending series champion and the winner here at Race City last year. With 66 victories to his credit over an 18-year career, he is ASA's winningest driver.
And the final member of our broadcast team is pit lane reporter Dave Burns.
Well, thanks, Jerry. It seems like deja vu all over again here at Race City Speedway. Rain yesterday, perfect green flag racing conditions here today. But watch out when the yellow flag flies, because as usual, all of the faster competitors have pitted on one end of the pits. They also, here at Race City Speedway, pit on both sides, which means when the action starts down here, it's going to be intense. Back up to you for the grid.
Thanks, Dave. Well, starting from pole today will be the number 7 Chevrolet of Gary St. Amant.
Johnny Benson Jr. starts on the outside front row. Last year's Rookie of the Year, he's still looking for his first victory.
Scott Hansen has his Chevy in the number 3 spot. He won over $100,000 a year ago.
A Canadian driver cracked the front ranks with Pete Harding of Surrey, BC in 4th spot, just a quarter of a second off the pole.
Young Tony Raines breaks up the crowd of Chevrolets with his Oldsmobile inside row 3.
The victim of the bump, Mike Eddy. He's a 5-time ASA champion with nearly 300 starts to his credit. He'll lead this thing before it's over, you can be sure of that.
Jerry, as we look down the rest of the starting field, you notice Bob Seneker starting 11th, Harry Gant 14th, the local road racing hero Kevin Dollar back in 30th. And you know, we've talked about the boys, the bump, and the bandit, but there is one other factor. Today is the 7th day of the 7th month. It's the 7th race of the year, and if you're the least bit superstitious, you've got to be putting your money on this man, our pole setter, Gary St. Amant, in, you guessed it, car 7.
Wow, 7's certainly wild, and there's Canadian Pete Harding, 4th on the grid. He's set for a big day. Here's Dave Burns.
I'm down here on the grid beside Harry Gant's number 33 Skull Bandit. And Harry may have a couple of advantages today. In the rear end, the crew has installed something called a ratchet rear end. In the front, they have a setup that they hope is near zero scrub. What that means in both cases is that Harry should get very good tire wear. Now, not all the drivers use setups like this, but it could give Harry the advantage he needs today to get to the front.
And there go the balloons. As you can see, a great day for a car race here in Calgary. The grandstands are packed. Opening ceremonies are over. We're clearing the grid. The 6th annual Players Limited 500 is about to roll. There's a lot of talent here today. 33 cars will take the green flag. The Players Limited 500 on CTV. We'll be back for the start. Welcome back to Race City Speedway in Calgary. Jerry Dobson here once again with Larry Newber. The field, as you can see, is coming around for the green flag. We will be racing momentarily. Gary St. Amand in the red car, the pole sitter. Right beside him, Johnny Benson in the white car. And we should have the green flag. Yes, and we are racing as they head into turn number 1. Johnny Benson in white, Gary St. Amand in red. It looks as though perhaps Johnny Benson is passing him. Yes, he is, Larry, right there.
Oh, he's trying to hold on to that upper lane. He somehow sneaks it in. And look at St. Amand getting very sideways. The cars behind him scrambling, but everybody somehow comes through unscathed.
So Johnny Benson Jr. takes the pole sitter Gary St. Amand right basically on the first turn. There's a look at Benson in behind the red car, number 7. That's Gary St. Amand. He was the pole sitter. He's now heading the pack here. He's in second spot.
He has his hands full, however. There is Scott Hansen right behind St. Amand. St. Amand in that red number 7, and our leader Benson. Remember, both drivers expected to have great seasons and both looking for career wins, number 1.
Gary St. Amand from Columbus, Ohio, now leading the group. He's in second, however, ahead of Gary St. Amand. Johnny Benson Jr. in the white car. There's Benson Jr. from Grand Rapids, Michigan, leading the way. Gary St. Amand next as they come around the turn. That's Scott Hansen in third. And there goes Mike Eddy in the black car, number 88, trying to make a move.
Well, if you're talking about all-time wins in ASA, you think about this guy, the number 88, is also the number 84. Second in all-time wins, Mike Eddy to Bob Seneca.
And Eddy does make the pass there. So after 5 laps, our order is Benson in the lead, followed by St. Amand. Then Eddy, who has moved up to third. And then it's Scott Hansen and Glenn Allen Jr.
And there is Glenn Allen Jr. in that green and white number 66. At 20 years of age, the youngest driver running up front with weekly regularity in ASA. Tony Raines shadowing him. Another one of the young Chargers in that, is it petty blue? Well, it's light blue and white number 25.
Aqua, perhaps, but like light blue any way you look at it. But for the moment, it's John Benson in the lead. There's another look at Glenn Allen Jr., car number 66.
Glenn Allen, you see some smoke coming up underneath that car. Could be a bad sign for this young Charger, though ranked only 11th in points at this point in the season. He is third on the most laps led list.
Speaking of laps, John Benson Jr., our leader, is number 1 in laps completed, so watch out for him. And before the race, we asked Tony Raines about passing at Race City.
Obviously, you got to be aware of how that guy's car handles into the turns. If he's going to push up in front of you a great deal, you'd obviously want to go underneath him. If he's you know, a good driver and he's going to stay down, once you get into the turn, you can roll the car in on the outside of him, you know, and then you just have to be careful that he doesn't squeeze you into the wall when you're exiting the turn. Other than that, you know, it's nothing to it.
Meanwhile, we are watching the 3-car fight for second spot. St. Amand in the red car number 7, right behind car number 88, the black one, that's Mike Eddy, and then number 53, Scott Hansen. A good-looking race for second spot here.
Mike Eddy has staggered a little bit in the early season here in ASA, staggered by his terms, that is. He's only 4th in points. Scott Hansen is 2nd, and St. Amand is ranked 5th in points right now. But give the edge on experience to the people trailing Gary St. Amand right now.
Especially perhaps Mike Eddy. Eddy started 6th here in this race. He's moved up to 3rd already, and we're still very early in the race, only 10 laps complete. So Mike Eddy is looking very strong.
And remember, Mike Eddy is one of those legendary characters in racing. He doesn't like to run anywhere except first. Now, he's become pretty adept at not abusing the race car, but he likes to run. But we got trouble in corner number 4.
Corner number 4, that is car number 40, Bruce Vanderland, and car number 18, Dean South. So that brings out our first yellow flag of the day. Early in the race, lap 13, the yellow comes out, so a couple of cars in trouble. Not serious, though. They look as though they're back on the track. Bruce Vanderland is running again.
No contact with any other cars or the wall in that incident, although both cars spinning almost completely around, sure to have abused their tires. Yeah, here comes Vanderland, the Michigan driver, coming in. Here's another one of those 3rd-generation drivers. Both his father and grandparents actually competed in the sport of motor racing. We didn't see South come in, but same thing for him. Probably tire abuse and no wall contact.
Okay, so after 13 laps under the yellow, it's Johnny Benson leading the way. Gary St. Amand in 2nd, followed by Mike Eddy, Scott Hansen, and Glenn Allen Jr. as the cars are all lined up. It's follow the leader right now as we are under the yellow.
Jerry, these races, they become a very interesting blend of aggression, of very heady driving, but also you have to be patient. The drivers will tell you you can't show everything that you're holding in your hand, particularly in the first half of these races, but the level of competition is elevated so much that you still have to run very hard just to keep up.
And evidence there, Bruce Vanderland. He'll have to run very hard now. He's back out on the track, but he is obviously following everybody else after that little spin out just moments ago.
Well, Mike Eddy is leading this league in races won so far this year. He's won 3 times, but still, he does not lead the points. Scott Hansen has won once, and the visitor from NASCAR, Darrell Waltrip, has won one of these races in 1991.
Okay, so we are now racing once again. This is lap 16. The leader, Johnny Benson, followed by Gary St. Amand. So that yellow has really closed things up and perhaps given the second and third place drivers a bit of an advantage now, or at least it's helped them out.
Yeah, this, as we mentioned, will be a race of strategy, and certainly one of the key points will be when do you come in for tires. Of course, tires wear significantly in any motor race, and particularly with these reasonably heavy race cars on an oval, tire wear is a critical item. And when you come in and what you change when you come in is a very big part of this racing.
And we'll have to wait and see how that aspect of this race unfolds. For now, Johnny Benson in the white car is the leader, followed by Gary St. Amand, the red car number 7, and Mike Eddy, black car number 88. Those are your 3 leaders.
As a matter of fact, talking about the first 10 cars there in line, they're still in that position in the race. You figure that all of them are running a calculated race, with the possible exception of Mike Eddy in that black number 88. You always wonder when the patented Eddy charge is going to come. There, they're putting a lap on Dean South, that black number 18, apparently involved with the wall in that spin earlier. The leaders are now in heavy traffic. This could get very interesting. Certainly, the advantage goes to the people following John Benson.
And before the race, we asked Gary St. Amand about his tactics when lapping slower cars in the early stages.
You definitely want to be cautious. You want to be cautious all the time. Other times you might wait a lap for a guy, to maybe see or pull over a little bit. Other times, you got Mike Eddy breathing down your back. You definitely want to get by as fast as you can.
So Eddy is no longer breathing down his back. Eddy's passing him.
Very apropos, wasn't it? There goes St. Amand closing the door on Mike Eddy somehow as they go to the high side of lap traffic there. Somehow St. Amand managing to hold the advantage over the veteran Mike Eddy.
It looked for a moment that Eddy was going to take him on that turn, but perhaps some slower traffic got in the way, so St. Amand managed to get back in front of him. So that's a good battle happening right there. St. Amand in the red car and Mike Eddy in the black.
And there goes our leader, John Benson, getting by. John Benson continues to set the pace here at Calgary, and second place very much up for grabs.
Great looking race. John Benson Jr. looking good in front, and right behind a great fight for second between the red car and the black car. That's St. Amand and Eddy. While we've been watching that terrific fight for second, let's not forget our leader, Johnny Benson Jr. in car number 21. He's led this race since the green flag.
Jerry, there's one other aspect of this race that is very unusual and difficult for the ASA drivers. They are accustomed to running with people that they have raced against for 10, 15, even 20 years. Oh, we've got a spin there in corner number 3.
That's Glenn Allen Jr. in car number 66 right there. He was running 5th, so he'll have to head for the pits. So that's a disaster for him. He was in great position, and now he's lost it all.
We were commenting that, and Glenn Allen still not out of trouble. The field under the yellow flag tow, but Allen turning right in front of a pack of charging cars. Many of the drivers the ASA people are facing today, they only face them one time a year, and in some instances, this is the first time they've ever seen or raced against them.
So Glenn Allen Jr. heads for pit lane, so a big problem for him. Dave Burns is standing by in pit lane.
Glenn Allen Jr. bringing the Baystone Construction Chevrolet into his pit stop. The crew is going to work on the right side of the car. Glenn with that spin over in turn number 3. Rubber's off the car now. They don't seem to be adjusting anything in the car. I don't believe there was any contact. Be careful to get the air hose out of the way. Crew is around, and Glenn Allen Jr. back out of the pits now.
And so Glenn Allen Jr. is back on his way as we take a look at the leaderboard after 47 laps. Johnny Benson in the lead, Gary St. Amand, Mike Eddy, Scott Hansen follow. And you're watching the Players Limited 500 on CTV Sports. Don't go away. We're racing under green at Calgary. This is the Players Limited 500, and after 70 laps, Johnny Benson Jr. continues to lead. He's driving the number 21 white Chevrolet. Larry, there's a long way to go yet in this race.
Yeah, and in the early stages of this race, Benson seems to be able, surprisingly, to stretch his lead at will over St. Amand and Eddy, but he keeps having these yellow flags return them right to his back door.
And right now we're watching the race for second. The red car number 7, that's Gary St. Amand, and the black car number 88 right behind him, that's Mike Eddy. That's the race for second as they try and weave their way through slower traffic.
I'm a little surprised. Oh, some smoke now coming from underneath St. Amand's car. Could be a very bad sign. What a disappointing moment for this young Charger from Columbus, Ohio. He felt that he was in a very good position to win this race. That's not a very promising sign.
So he's hanging on to his position for the moment, but Mike Eddy is really hard on him right now. And it looks, oh, there's some debris in the track there that St. Amand just barely got by.
And there's Dean South. Remember, we saw that fender flapping a few laps earlier. I bet that's where it came from. He's moving slowly. He went into the wall at turn 2. Let's take another look at the incident. Perhaps this is a second one, Jerry.
Yes, this is Dean South hitting the wall, the back of his car hitting the wall, and a piece of it ends up on the track, and that's what St. Amand barely got by. And so with 74 laps complete, we've got the yellow flag out once again. This time the leaders are in looking for fuel and tires, but Johnny Benson Jr., the leader, is staying out. Second place, Gary St. Amand, is coming in. He actually ran over that debris with his left wheels. Dave, what have you got?
Here comes Gary St. Amand, the car very low on the left-hand side, and now the crew goes immediately to work on the left-hand side. It appears they have a problem under the hood. It looks like they also had a tire going down. And it does appear that that left-right front tire is flat. Gary St. Amand with both engine problems and tire problems. He was currently running second. Crew looking underneath now. Heavy smoke pouring from St. Amand's car. And now going inside.
So the order after 79 laps, St. Amand is right out of the picture for now. Johnny Benson leads the way. Mike Eddy now in second. Scott Hansen running third.
Some interesting strategic moves. Benson, Eddy, Hansen, and Jay Sauter, the black number 1, far right-hand side of the screen, chose to stay out. I felt this was the time it was appropriate for all the leaders to come in, but those first 4 cars did not pit for fresh rubber.
So there's Mike Eddy, car number 88, right hard in behind John Benson Jr., the leader. Benson Jr. in the white car, Eddy in the black car. It looks as though Eddy is poised to try and do something here.
And that bright yellow car in 5th in line, that happens to be the highest ranking Canadian driver right now from Surrey. That's Pete Harding.
So Pete Harding looking good, moving up to 5th, but look at Eddy dropping down inside. John Benson, is he going to do it here?
It's like a script, Jerry. We told you about 10 minutes ago that Mike Eddy always looks for the lead early on in one of these ASA races, and despite wherever he qualifies, soon he's challenging for number 1.
What a duel happening right here. Eddy and Benson Jr. side by side. Eddy has the inside lane, so that's got to be an advantage, and there he goes.
Benson's best move right now when he gets caught on the outside early in the race like this is just to tuck in behind Eddy, because Eddy is a bulldog. He won't let go. All Benson is doing is abusing his tires. Plus, remember, he didn't change. They're old as he runs on the outside.
So Mike Eddy doing a great job. Remember, he started in 6th place. He now has the lead. There he is in the black car number 88, John Benson Jr. right behind him. And if you're wondering what became of Gary St. Amand, who started from the pole and held 2nd place for most of this race, he's still in the pits. Here's Dave Burns with a report.
Well, Jerry, it appears from down here in the pits, and now as we look at the car, we can see underneath the oil dripping. And last week, that is a problem that put Gary St. Amand out of the race. This week, once again, it appears that an oil leak is going to put Gary St. Amand behind the wall. The crew will go to work on it, but it doesn't look good for the number 7 car.
What a shame for Gary St. Amand as we watch the leader, Mike Eddy. St. Amand was in such great position through most of this race.
Yeah, he really was, Jerry. He's the only driver to have won more than 1 pole so far this year in the ASA season. Today's pole was his 2nd, and as we mentioned earlier, they thought today was their day.
In any event, there is your leader, car number 88, the black car with the yellow trim. That's Mike Eddy. He's looking pretty good right now.
But they're train wrecking behind him. There's a 4-way battle for 3rd place. Scott Hansen, Jay Sauter, Pete Harding, and the zero hero, Tom Jones, in that white number 0.
So a good battle happening in behind. Look at them going around the corner there. 53, of course, that is Hansen. He's looking pretty strong right now. Hansen has been fairly consistent throughout this race.
Hansen's been consistent all season long in ASA, currently ranked 2nd in points, just 10 behind the leader, John Benson Jr., who is also leading this race. And there he was leading this race, and Mike Eddy is finally by.
Mike Eddy leading the way, car number 88, the black car, and there's a problem for Benson. He just simply, what happened there, Larry?
Well, Jerry, my suspicion is not driver error. I would suggest tires. Remember earlier we said I felt that Benson was abusing his tires, trying to run on the high side of Mike Eddy with an old set of rubber on. You see that Benson appears to be right back up to speed. As long as he stays in the groove, he doesn't appear to have a problem.
So Mike Eddy under complete control right now. The black car number 88. Those are slower cars that he's weaving his way through right now. Mike Eddy in good position. The fight for second is between Scott Hansen and Jay Sauter happening in behind. There's Hansen, the white car number 53, and Sauter in the black car number 1. That's a pretty good battle.
Should be an even keel. Two of the drivers who chose not to stop for fresh tires on that early pit stop. And there goes Sauter to the high side of Scott Hansen. Hansen appears to be slowing because look how easily the young driver, one of 9 siblings, by the way, pulls away from Scott Hansen.
Great move by Jeff Sauter, and completely by surprise, too. He just walked away from him, so there could be a problem with Benson's car as Jay Sauter moves into second place.
Jerry, something is clearly wrong with Scott Hansen dropping from second to fifth in half a lap. Now, maybe a tire is deflating, but he's not alone. We've got trouble all over the track. There's smoke pouring out of the number 66 machine of Glenn Allen Jr., and Gary St. Amant is into the tire wall.
Problems all over the place has created another yellow, so Mike Eddy there, car number 88, comes into the pits. So opportunity here for him with this yellow. He needs his pit stop badly. This is his first one.
Mike Eddy in the Nationwide Pontiac coming in now, and there appears to be oil all over Mike Eddy's car, so he's gotten into the oil from someone else's engine, it appears. Right side rubber now coming off of the car number 88. And a lug nut problem on the right front tire. Lug nuts off of car number 88, and they're down and away. And Jerry, I'm going to say that they did not get all of the lug nuts on the right front tire of Mike Eddy's car. You may want to keep an eye on him.
Oh boy, Mike Eddy, a questionable right front wheel now, and he gets in and out of the pits just ahead of Johnny Benson Jr., but they are no longer the leaders, however. That honor belongs to that man right there, car number 1, Jay Sauter.
Sauter in the black number 1 Chevrolet, first-year team on the circuit.
So our leaderboard after 110 laps, Jay Sauter in the lead. Terry Baldry now moves into second. Tony Raines, Bob Seneker, and the rest of them. So a completely new race. We'll be right back with more of the Players Limited 500 from Race City in Calgary right after this. Back at Race City in Calgary, we've just got the green flag again on lap 113 of this 500-lap race for ASA stock cars. Jay Sauter, our leader in car number 1. He inherited the lead on the last round of pit stops. Right now we're watching the battle for second place. This is car number 14, Terry Baldry. Car number 25, Tony Raines, right there together in similar-looking cars, white with blue. And the sneaker, Bob Seneker, in car number 84, right in behind them there.
Called the sneaker because, unlike Mike Eddy, Bob Seneker never charges or seldom charges. He just runs a consistent, steady pace all race long and come down the last 25% of the race, and usually he's up front.
Oh, and there's a spin out, car number 30, that orange car. That's Kevin Dowler. He's an Albertan from Edmonton, in fact, so a problem for him. He doesn't take anybody else with him, though, fortunately.
Now, I'm not certain, but I don't think that Baldry and Raines were running in the second and third positions pitted during the last yellow. Those cars certainly got to be thirsty for fuel and in need of new shoes, new tires, so perhaps they will be coming in. Yeah, there they are coming in under this yellow flag.
So, a yellow flag creates an opportunity for the two leaders as they come into the pits now. Let's check in once again with Dave Burns.
Tony Raines now into the pits in the ETR Oldsmobile. The crew are going to work on the left-hand side of the car. Fuel has been put in the car, and now Tony is just waiting for them to drop the jack. They've done so. Tony Raines now quickly out of the pits in car number 25, as well as the 14 car of Terry Baldry.
As Tony gets back on the track, did you ever wonder about what's involved in putting a stock car team together? Well, to find the answer, we had a chat with Tony Raines' first-year team owner, Ernie Roselli.
We came here with approximately 30 tires, 25 rims, 3 complete engines, 1 in the car, 2 spares. We carry approximately 50 sets of gears. We buy everything that we think we might need, all our oil, fuel, just about any spare part, because most of the tracks it's hard to get spare parts.
That's a serious financial stake in rolling stock and spare parts.
I'd say tractor and trailer and everything inside at around $300,000.
Of course, the key ingredient in any successful operation is people, and this is no exception.
We have a crew of 8 with us this weekend. Most all these guys have full-time jobs, and like I said, if you didn't love it, you couldn't do it. It just takes all day and all night, every one of these guys, when we get home, work all day and come to the shop and work in the shop half the night. And it's 7 days a week. We don't take any time off.
And we're racing again in the Players 500. There's our leader, number 1. That's Jay Sauter in the black car from West Salem, Wisconsin. Right behind him, that's car number 40, Bruce Vanderland. But Larry, I believe that Vanderland's at least a lap down, so Sauter's out there on his own.
Yeah, remember, Vanderland happened to spin all by himself early in the race. Now, Seneca, number 84, officially is being shown as second. Harold Fair is third, with Mike Eddy, guess who? He's back, breathing down Harold Fair's neck.
And car number 33, in case you're wondering, we talked about him at the top of the show, Harry Gant. He's running in 10th, but he is on the lead lap.
Yeah, he's running that zero scrub setup on the rear end. We'll see if that pays off for Harry. Harry is wily and crafty. He's been driving late model stock cars for a long time. He's still in this one, Jerry.
And we shouldn't forget about Mike Eddy, who has come back. Oh, just as I talk about Mike Eddy, he spins out there, goes a little too low on the corner, and then he hits another car number 8. That's Troy Vanderbilt.
Let's take another look at it, see what happened. There is Benson moving in on Eddy. Eddy tries to brake. He gets drilled by Johnny Benson. Perhaps Eddy seeing the spin prior to Benson. Benson puts Eddy into a spin, and Mike has nowhere to go as he slides into Troy. And Benson and Tim Steele in that red number 85 get by without any incident.
And now here comes Mike Eddy, and look at the damage to the number 88 car. Heavy damage to the right front side of Mike Eddy's Nationwide Auto Parts Pontiac. Crew members from Scott Hansen's team now helping out on the right side there, but I believe there's some suspension damage or something on the right side of that car. It does not look good. The tire was bowing out as Mike came in, and now Mike anxious to move on, but the crew is going to send him back out so he does not lose a lap.
So as we get set to go green again on lap 141, Mike Eddy is out of the picture, at least for now. Our new leader is the white and blue car number 84, driven by Bob Seneca. And how's this for irony? He won this race last year by bumping Mike Eddy out of the way. This year, it looks as though Johnny Benson did the dirty work for him.
Well, setting the pace right now is that white Pontiac number 40. That's Bruce Vanderlaan. He is almost 1 lap down. What he's trying to do now is drive very, very hard and preserve his lead lap positioning.
So he is still on the lead lap, barely in front of the leader, who's nearly a full lap ahead. Then obviously that's Bob Seneca in car number 84. He's the leader. Harold Fair is in second, and there was a problem. Wow.
Seneca gets underneath Vanderlaan as Tim Steele, also accustomed to running with the leader 1 lap down. That red number 85 almost lost control simultaneously to the Seneca pass.
So Bob Seneca in first, Harold Fair second, John Benson, and there's Vanderland going high.
Well, Bruce is giving it all he has, and unfortunately, sometimes when you overextend yourself in racing, it costs you more than the deficit you were at. A spin.
Another spin. That's car number 25. That's Tony Raines. He hits the wall. So we're having our share of bang-ups here. Tony Raines didn't take anybody with him, but he's got to find a lane now to get back into the pit.
It's a tricky oval here. It's very wide, allowing you a lot of opportunity to pass, but it's relatively flat, so the drivers can't lean in the corners as much as they're used to.
Tony Raines has indeed brought the ETR Racing E&L Brokerage Oldsmobile onto pit road, and as you can see, they're removing the entire radiator and replacing it. Tony now patiently waiting in the car. The other radiator has expired, and it's going to necessitate an entire replacement. So Tony now waiting for them to complete it, and has probably lost a couple of laps. I don't know, maybe you can tell up there, Jerry.
Well, Dave, Tony Raines' spin was so neat, he didn't leave any debris at all, so the pace car did not come out, which means every 17 seconds he's dropping another lap to the leaders. There's the fight for second. That's between Scott Hansen and Tom Jones. Tom Jones in the car number 0. Raines is back on the track, but he's now 2 laps down.
Yeah, an unusual position for Tom Jones. Tom Jones has not finished higher than 15th in any of the previous races this year, so the Zero Hero, Tom Jones, is having his best race of the campaign.
Leader once again is car number 84, Bob Seneca, as we watch that dice there between car number 53, Scott Hansen, and car number 0, Jones.
And there is Tony Raines finally back out after that agonizing pit stop without a hood.
Without a hood, following the leader, Bob Seneca, so we'll have to see how long this continues to hold. That's a strange looking sight, a car without a hood chasing the leader right now.
There's another spin. Oh, we've got a crash. There's Dennis Lamon involved, Marsh Marmalock, and Gary St. Amand, and car number 7 slides into the fray. There's a 4th car, at least one more involved. Can't see who it is. Right now he's blocked me. Oh, it's Johnny Benson Jr., who is in a great position to possibly win this race.
Well, not any longer. What a mess that is. Hopefully nobody's injured on this, but a real crash up involving 4 or possibly 5 cars.
There you can see Marmalak losing control down on the bottom of the racetrack. He drives right into the gentle giant Dennis Lampman from Illinois. Man, very tall and large in stature. They crash into the outer wall. Gary St. Amant is roaring up. He has nowhere to go. He gets underneath Marmalak. As he slides into this, there's now a 4th car involved. That is Pete Harding in the yellow number 39, and also Johnny Benson Jr. is the last bump that you see there on the replay.
Fortunately, the rest of the field was able to stay low on the turn and get by this mess. There's Gary St. Amant. He's not hurt. It looks as though all the drivers are okay. He's checking out some of his mates here, but what a mess. Perhaps as many as 4 or 5 cars could be eliminated here, so it'll take a while to untangle this. And the leaders, well, I guess most of them are headed for the pits right now, including Bob Seneker. Let's go to Dave Burns.
Bob Seneker, your leader, into the pits now, squealing to a stop, laying down some rubber in car number 84. The Lane Automotive Chevrolet, they're now going to work on the right side. And of course, the side taking the most abuse on those Goodyear Racing Eagles. Fuel going into the back of the car now. The crew is backed away. Bob Seneker is down and away. And Seneker, a fantastic pit stop for Bob Seneker.
So things changing fast and furious here, but Bob Seneker, a great pit stop, so he's still in contention here.
Yeah, that accident there, you see Pete Harding's yellow number 39 Chevy Lumina being lifted up. He was the best hope for Canadian victory here today. He's wiped out in this accident.
So a lot of changes here as we look at the standings after 195 laps. The new leader, car number 45, that's Dave Jackson. Mike Eddy is still there. Bob Seneker is 5th. We'll be back in a moment. Back at Race City Speedway in Calgary, the Players 500. We are just about ready to pick it up at lap 212. There's the new leader, car number 45. That's Dave Jackson, who's now in front. As yes, we do have the green flag, so we are racing once again. Dave Jackson in the lead, followed by Mike Eddy in a banged up black car number 88.
A lot of confusion a few laps ago, but it wasn't confusing at all to Dave Jackson. Here's a man who finishes most of these races. Everybody else is going to be wondering, what's he have left?
So Dave Jackson in control, and there's a very slow-looking car. That is Dave Stamm, very slow moving along there, and that has brought out the yellow flag. So once again, we just get started now.
Oh, look at this one, Jerry. Apparently, Eddie is still making repairs, trying to stay on the lead lap, and here comes Dave Jackson, dropping out of the lead for a pit stop.
And here comes your leader, Dave Jackson, now having to relinquish that lead in the Red Bank Trout Dairy Likens Oil Chevrolet. The crew going in to change the left side, so they're not even changing the right side tires. This might seem a little bit strange. Dave Jackson in car 45 choosing to go for the inside tires, the left side. And the crew now, the car's still up on the jacks. Fuel is in the car. A little bit of trouble on the left rear. And the lug nut's not quite going on for them. Now they've got the lug nuts on. Dave Jackson is down and away. Of course, he had to give up the lead in the car number 45.
Very critical. They did give up the lead there, Larry, and maybe the pit crew to blame?
Well, it seemed like there was an unnecessary stop. On the other hand, Bob Seneker's crew, the veteran and experienced people that they are, got him out and in very quickly. Just change of 2 tires, and he's in a very good position on the racetrack.
So we're on lap 225 now, just about set to race again. The new leader, car number 1, that is Jay Sauter, as we do have the green flag. So Jay Sauter, the black car number 1, in control right now. Following him is Jeff Neal in car number 5, and right behind him, car number 81, is Harold Fair.
Jeff Neal, we have not mentioned his name yet today. One of the interesting stories on the ASA trail, a young driver whose father was renowned for building racing engines a few years ago, and the son decided to stake out on his own to become a professional race driver.
Jay Sauter in the black car in the lead. Right behind him, that's Jeff Neal in the white, car number 5. So a pretty good looking duel happening right here. Neal is not giving anything away to Sauter.
Both drivers in their middle 20s. As we mentioned, that Jay Sauter is also the son of another racing driver, Jim Sauter, who is currently active in Winston Cup racing. And Jeff Neal, of course, has been around racetracks his entire life.
Jay Sauter in the lead. Right behind him, Jeff Neal, and Neal drops down low a little bit. No room there, however, on this turn.
There is Bob Seneker in number 84, perhaps the consummate ASA race driver. One of the most unique drivers running in this division, and also one of the most versatile. Bob Seneker, who's been driving race cars for over 30 years.
My brother Rich started in jalopies back in the late 50s, early 60s, and I went to watch him and caught the bug, and that's how I got started. I got some old scrap iron from him that he threw away, and I built a race car out of it. And it was a dangerous heat, but I managed to not get hurt in it and went on from there.
And Bob Seneca went on to reach new heights. In fact, his favorite pastime, apart from driving, is skydiving.
I think there's no comparison to skydiving. At least the first time out, there's no thrill in racing as big as letting go of that airplane and just falling through the air, knowing you got 3,000 or 4,000 feet down below you, and something's going to stop you before you get too far. Biggest thrill of my life, I got to say.
Well, 66 wins in ASA. Is it time to move on?
No, as far as I'm going at this point. We dabbled in NASCAR a couple of times and found out that you have to do it full time. You have to move down there and join the club more or less. And, I'm not ready to do that at this point in my life anymore. I'm happy with ASA. It's kind of my home. I'll stay here.
And this point is age 46. After 30 years of thrill-seeking, he's the winningest driver in ASA history. Is Bob thinking about retirement?
It seems like about this time in my life I would have had all my thrills, you think? But no, it's the thrill is always there. It's always fun to do. I don't think I could leave it alone. I won't quit until I can't keep up anymore.
All right, back to the racing. There is Bob Seneca, car number 84, I believe, currently running in 4th position right now. The leader is car number 1 up ahead. That'll be Jay Sutter. As we watch Seneca go round and round, passing slower cars along the way. Jay Sutter in the lead. He's car number 1, and Jeff Neal in car number 5. There are the two leaders. Jay Sutter, the black car, Jeff Neal, the white car, right behind him.
Both of these drivers like Johnny Benson, and we have a car spun. A car has collided with the outside wall. That's Tim Steele, the number 85 car, driver from Grand Rapids, Michigan area. Here comes Jeff Neal into the pits.
And Neal is into the pits, and so is car number 81. That would be Harold Fair.
Harold Fair now into the pits in car number 81, the Mac Tools Hunter Heiskin Chevrolet Lumina. Harold now receiving left side tires, the crew going to the left side. Meanwhile, second place right across from him, the 5 car of Jeff Neal. Jeff Neal also receiving service in his Xerox Victor Buick Regal, and Jeff Neal beats Harold Fair out of the pits. Mike Eddy also in for pit service, but Harold Fair now an excruciatingly long pit stop. The crew still working on the left side of Harold's car. It appears that they may have lost a lug nut or two. Harold patiently waiting, and now the car down off the jacks, and Harold Fair is out and away.
So a fairly slow pit stop for Harold Fair. He finally gets back out. This is lap 264, the leader. There he is. That's car number 1, the black car, Jay Sutter. Right behind him is Bob Seneca. We talked with Bob moments ago. He is in the number 2 spot right now. And then it's 53, Scott Henson, Kent Stouffer, and Terry Baldry.
And the state of Wisconsin down in the United States is well represented there in the top 5 here at this late juncture in the race. First position, Sauter, Wisconsin, Hanson from Green Bay, Wisconsin, and Terry Baldry, another Wisconsin Badger.
So a look at the leader right now. Jay Sutter being chased by Bob Seneca. Seneca is right on him now. Car number 84. That is Seneca right behind Jay Sutter. So this is a battle we haven't yet seen. We may see it now.
Not only have we not seen it today, but all of this season. Sauter, a young man up front looking for win number 1, figures to be more aggressive than second running Seneca and third running Hanson. Both of them are shooting for the points championship. They want to finish the race first and win it second.
Okay, so quite a setup here now. Sutter in the lead. Seneca seems to have the inside line on a lot of the turns, and he's right behind him, so I don't know if he's setting him up for a move here or not.
Seneca's trying to go low. He feels as though his car is hooked a little tighter than Jay Sauter's. That is, it turns into the corners better, and that move right there is evidence of it. He waited for an opening, moved under Jay, watched for Hanson to try and follow Seneca through.
Scott Hanson in car number 53, right behind Bob Seneca. You see the two of them there, and they seem to have the line, both of them. At least Seneca has the line on Jay Sutter, and Seneca gets by. He's your new leader.
Oh, Scott Hanson with an uncharacteristic mistake. One, he dropped the left side tires onto the dirt in the last lap, and then he hung himself up behind lap traffic.
Slow traffic getting in the way, so Scott Hanson can't get by. He remains in third. You move up one car, that's Jeff Sutter, the black car, pardon me, Jay Sutter in second place. The leader is Bob Seneca, right there, car number 84, moving through slower traffic.
It's now the job of Scott Hanson on his own. He does not have a blocker in front of him, Bob Seneca, to help him get around Sutter. He looks to the inside also.
Scott Hanson, everybody it seems trying to get the inside line on Jay Sutter, and for the most part these cars are being successful with this move, but not this time.
When you're lapping people here at Calgary, the place to be is the second groove. That's about actually 1 3/4 car widths off the inside line. But when you're racing with somebody, the best way to get around, make the pass, is go to the inside. Textbook moves by both Seneker and Hansen.
Well, Jay Sutter is hanging in tough, but it looks as though Scott Hansen has the better of him. Yes, Hansen cleanly in front now. So Bob Seneker, the leader, car number 53, the white car there of Hansen in second, and Jay Sutter now drops to third. So 2 cars get by Jay Sutter in a couple of laps.
Oh, crash right in front of Seneker. It's Harry Gant. Yeah, Gant has collided with Tony Raines. Significant meeting between those 2 cars.
Well, at first it looked as though he broadsided him, but Larry, I think there was earlier contact.
Well, Jeff Neal slowed down, and Tony Raines took evasive action, which slowed him down, which forced Harry Gant to plow into the rear of Tony Raines.
So look at the mess there. He's done for the day, I would think, by the look of that car as he heads into the pits. And so the leaderboard looks like this now after 380 laps. Bob Seneker in the lead, followed by Scott Hansen and Jay Sutter. This is the Players Limited 500 on CTV Sports. We'll be back. Welcome back to Race City Speedway in Calgary. There is your leader. We are on the final laps, the Players Limited 500. Dave Jackson, car number 45 in front. He's followed by Scott Hansen. Right behind him there in the white car. In third place is car number 81, Harold Fair.
Jackson having a terrific race. This could be his best finish of the season. So far, his best has been a 9th. Seldom is he up front at the end of a race in an ASA race. Now Hansen moves to the inside. Jackson holding his own, but Scott Hansen looks like he is intending to be the brand new race leader here late in the going.
Scott Hansen does it right there on Dave Jackson. So Scott Hansen, car number 53, followed by Dave Jackson. So the lead changing hands incredibly fast here in the latter stages of this race. It's not over yet. There's Jackson, and Jeff Neal is right on his tail.
And Jerry, I can't believe all the chicanery up front is over yet. Neal has been running very strong the last few laps. Remember, he's been involved in a couple of minor incidents. That has not slowed him down at all, running faster than Jackson. And look who's right behind that duo, Bob Seneker. There comes Jay Sutter, who's had a great day also.
So any one of several drivers here could end up with a checkered flag. There goes Jeff Neal. There's Bob Seneker. Neal to the left of your screen, car number 5. Bob Seneker right there in the white car 84. He is by Jackson as well.
We have also whittled this field down so that only 7 cars are on the lead lap. So they can all go the distance from here, but it will give them some interesting opportunities should we get a late yellow flag.
Scott Hansen right there. Jeff Neal is right in behind him. Things changing drastically here in the final few laps. It's wide open for anybody to take it. Bob Seneker is in contention as we watch Neal try to drop down on Hansen.
Look at how strong Neal is running. He does very quick work on Scott Hansen. Jeff Neal having a terrific day.
Scott Hansen right there, and Seneker is right in behind Hansen. A lot of heavy traffic. There's Jay Sutter, the black car number 1. He's in contention, and there goes Seneker in car number 84. He gets by Hansen.
What a great move by Bob Seneker. The veteran found just a small opening, and he's not working his way through slower traffic. Those are cars running in the top 5. A bump between Jackson and Hansen. Both of them escape.
There's Hansen in the white car number 53, Jackson in the red car. That was Jay Sutter in the black car, but there's Bob Seneker really moving along here now.
Bob Seneker in that posture he seems to always be in, and there's a spin. It's Tony Raines again.
Tony Raines, he'll be out of this race now. We've only got a few laps to go. Tony Raines will be out of the race. Bob Seneker looking to be great, and now they go into the pit here with this yellow flag. There goes Bob Seneker. Let's check in now. There's Jay Sutter following him in. Dave Jackson will go in as well. There's Bob Seneker. Let's check in now with Dave Burns in the pits.
And here comes Scott Hansen now in for that much-needed pit stop. Scott was dropping back steadily. The crew hard to work on the right side of the car. Right side rubber going on, and no problems on the right rear, no problems on the right front. Scott Hansen is down and away, and Jay Sutter beating him back out of the pits. A fantastic pit stop for him.
All this action on the racetrack and the race may have just been decided there in the pits. Let's check in on the emotions.
Howie, it looked like Scott was really dropping back there. What was the problem?
Yeah, the car's loose. We've been, I think we missed the setup a little bit today. We've been having a problem with looseness all day. We've been getting it corrected. We've been able to run near the front, but just have never got the car right.
So the green flag again, but this race could have come down to that pit stop. Bob Seneker comes out the clear winner. He's in front. Jay Sutter right behind him, and then Scott Hansen. So real problems. And look at this traffic here as Bob Seneker gets through, Sutter gets through, Jeff Neal is stuck in behind there. There's Seneca, 84, just out of your screen, the white car. He is the leader and in great position right now.
These guys in hand-to-hand combat out on the racetrack. Remember the boys we referred to at the top of the show, the people who labor so hard in the pits? They may have determined the outcome of this race. They got Bob Seneca out first.
Bob Seneca, car number 84, right in the center of your screen. He's in good shape. Jay Sauter in the black car right behind him.
Boy, talk about people in good shape. Sauter is really turning in a terrific performance. Remember, Seneca has won 66 times. Jay Sauter has never won an ASA race.
And it looks as though it's going to be Bob Seneca. He's in control now. We're just about finished. There's the checkered flag. Seneca is going to take it. There he is. Bob Seneca wins the race here by taking over the lead on that final pit stop. It was all him. Jay Sauter had an excellent move coming out of the pits as well. He has to settle for second spot. Third place goes to Dave Jackson, but what a move by both Bob Seneca and by Jay Sauter to get out of those pits in great shape. Let's check in with Sauter in the pits.
Crew work was the key. The guys got me in and out of the pits on time, and I think if we could have got out ahead of Bob, it might have been a little different race.
At the very end, you were challenging, very tough. Do you think you had a chance to get by him?
Our car was a little bit too tight coming off the corner. I could go in on him, but I just couldn't quite get off. We did good. We're real happy.
Bob, last year, after 500 laps, you told me, gee, that seemed like a 500-lap sprint. What did it seem like today?
It sure didn't seem like 500 laps yet. This track's so easy to run. I'm barely tired. I could go another 300-400, I think.
300-400 laps. Incredible. Your car must have been working extremely well.
Car worked perfect all day. The crew did a heck of a job in the pits every time. In fact, I almost messed it up once. I almost pulled it off the jack, but they took care of it and kept us in front all day. It was really a good race.
And with this win, Seneca moves into the points lead. Here are some final thoughts from Dave Burns.
Well, another Players Limited 500 has come and gone here at Race City Speedway in Calgary. Bob Seneca, 2 in a row. What can you say? ASA's winningest driver does it again. For Jerry Dobson and Larry Newber, I'm Dave Burns. So long, everybody.